It starts with characters for me. Characters should be always at war with themselves and always at war with what they have to do in order for things to be made right. The series blossomed outward and took on new perspectives in The Telling in Iron Gold and in Dark Age. And Lightbringer, while it still has the other perspectives besides Darrow's, it really brings the story home, and it's his narrative, and he's the spine of the book. And it's about his journey, metaphorically and physically, back to the planet he loves and that he wants to protect. So here's the thing one thing I want to get really clear is that it's not one book split into two books. It is two separate books. The story that I was telling in Lightbringer, I felt like I was rushing towards an end and curtailing a lot of the narrative that is the meat of the second half of the Red Rising saga. And so I realized I had to dedicate Book 6 to tying up some loose ends and tying up some journeys. And then Book 7 is its own, fully complete story. Like I try to make all my books. It's a book that stands on its own, so there won't be a media res, stoppage right at the end. It won't be to be continued, you know what I mean? It feels a little cheap to cut a book in half and then call it two books. It's two books, and I'm really excited to get to tackle the seventh one after wrapping up the sixth. So with Darrow, he was really my shout into the void. I'd written 6 books before Red Rising, and then I had, I suppose, more of a connection with writing Red Rising because Darrow in many ways was helping me find my own agency. And he found his agency in the books and changed. I changed over time too. And we really ran parallel. Sometimes he was a year or two younger than me or a year or two older. I started at 16, I started writing when I was 22, and then he's caught up to me. But when I finish the series, I'll be probably 35 and he'll be 33 or 34. So the parallels in age and the journey we've both been on have been kind of the highlight of the whole saga for me. Because you see his disillusionment, you see the shattering of his own internal myths and how he reforges his new beliefs and his new convictions and takes that forward into trying to make the world a better place. And hopefully I mirror that and I'm able to do the same in my own life. When I first started the Red Rising series, I wanted to write in dystopia because I think the advantage of science fiction and fantasy is getting to talk about things that are on our own world, but without the possibility of someone counter-arguing you based on their current politics. We all believe certain things, and we can sometimes get defensive when a new opinion or a new truth contradicts what we believe. But when you set it in a fantastical world, you're able to strip people of their prior convictions, so to speak, and you're able to access the greater truth of things. And in many ways, dystopias and science fiction fantasy are very satirical. And a satirical story should always be using absurdity to point out an inconsistency or a hypocrisy in our own world. And I thought that this use of dystopia for Red Rising was a way for me to comment on our own inequalities and our own struggles in modern America. I think a dystopian story has to have a hero who is at war with themselves, because they might have rosy convictions and this beautiful idea of how the world should be, but they have to go through the brambles and the mud and the darkness to get there. And they have to sacrifice and leave part of themselves behind. But do they do it to the extent where when they come out the other side, they're the same person? So for me, it's always about the personal journey. That's what a dystopia has to show. It has to show your character getting scraped and bruised and cut, and make them make sacrifices for the greater good, or make them decide not to. And you have to be with them on that journey. So it starts with characters for me. Characters should be always at war with themselves and always at war with what they have to do in order for things to be made right.